everybody, and welcome. I'm excited about this today because this is something we've talked an awful lot about. Been talking to a lot of you guys about this, and for those of you who don't know or are new to what we do here, we do a lot of things. One of the things we do is play video games, but we also are going to be doing some interviews. We're doing the cooking like we are today out of my mom's Southern Cookbook. And we do so many other things, which I'll tell you all about here in a little bit. But I want to go ahead and get to all of this. First of all, we started doing some recipes out of my mom's Southern Cookbook, gosh, probably a year or so ago. And then we had so much happening with the TV series and with both of our regular jobs. I kind of got away from it for just a little while. But now that we are moved into our new home and we are all set up, we wanted to get back to doing that. And after talking to a bunch of you, y'all just wanted me to start all over from the beginning because the recipes that we did a while back, they're hard to try to go back and find now because it's been so long. So I'm excited that you guys are so excited about it and that we've been talking about it. So here we are. So first thing I'm going to do is I want to show you the book. Y'all have to forgive my poor book because it's supposed to be this color, but it was in the back of my car when I was in nursing school for a long time, so it kind of faded and it looks weird. But anyway, this is what the book looks like. It's the Tammy Wynettes Southern Cookbook, and a lot of people have already been asking me to, where can you get it? I've seen some people say they found it on Amazon, some found it on eBay. I will warn you, there are a lot of people trying to take advantage of the fact that the TV series just came out. So if you are looking for the cookbook and you're finding outrageous prices on something like eBay, do yourself a favor and probably wait a few months and go back and look again. Once some of this dies down a little bit, maybe you'll be able to find one better. Or we did have some people say they've been to some thrift stores, like some bookstores that have older books. You might get lucky and find one there. But it has been out of print for quite some time. So I hope you do find one if you want one. I will be sharing the recipes. So like after we finish this live video of how to make what we're making, I will take the actual recipe from the book, take a picture of it, and I will put it on I can't because my husband's making faces at me back there. I'm getting tickled. Anyway, I will put the recipe on here so that you guys can find it and use it later. So that way, even if you don't get the cookbook, you'll at least be able to get the recipes. So something that I wanted to do, I did before when we started doing these things. I wanted to read from you and hear from the introduction just because this is what my mom wrote. She was an excellent cook. We always loved eating her food, and she was well known for it in the community. It wasn't just her singing. If she went anywhere and did something, she always took food with her. And I have had so many people tell me that I've met recently that knew Mom, oh my gosh, your mom used to bring us banana pudding, or your mom used to do this or do that. And it was because she really loved cooking for people, and she was really very good at it. So anyway, let me go ahead and read this to you. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start with something really simple, but it was such a staple in our home. My Meemaw used to make it all the time. She taught my mom to make it. My mom used to make it all the time. I guess it's like the Southern staple, kind of like what a tuna sandwich would be today for a lot of households. We ate a lot of salmon patties. And of course, it's something that is very nostalgic for me. So I'm not sure if you've ever had them or not, but definitely try out this recipe. If you like salmon, or if you like crab cakes, if you like things of that nature, you'll probably like salmon patties. They're really delicious. So anyway, let me go ahead and get to the introduction. I'm going to read that, and then we'll get to the recipe. So here we go. It says, "Dear reader and fellow cook, thank you for buying my first ever cookbook. In these pages, you will find many delicious, down-home country recipes unique to our Southern way of life. I hope that you will enjoy preparing and eating these dishes as much as I've enjoyed preparing them and presenting them in this book. As many of you know already, I was born on a sharecropper farm in Etowah County, Mississippi. We had no running water, no indoor plumbing, and no stove. We cooked over an open fireplace and water drawn and hand-carried from a nearby spring. It was hard work, and we worked hard from the crack of dawn till the sun went down. But though we didn't have much of anything, one thing we did have was a lot of love. We were one big extended family with my mother, my stepfather, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, and even a great-grandparent. We didn't have anything, but we did have each other. Despite our hard times and struggles, we had a lot of happy moments and laughs. I have wonderful memories of those days, and I wouldn't have traded them for the world. In the years that have passed since then, I've performed on every continent in hundreds of cities and in nearly every state in the U.S. I've won many prestigious awards and have enjoyed great international acclaim. I've entertained in the White House numerous times and before other heads of states, in addition to performing in some of the most famous concert halls in the world. Yet despite all of these honors, my roots are pure rural Mississippi. That was my home, my background, my upbringing, and my life. It still is. For it was down on that farm that I learned the values and virtues I would carry throughout my life and my performing career. Love of God, country, family, and the simple pleasures that make life so joyously worth living. Today I have a wonderful husband, 5 beautiful daughters, 1 wonderful son, and 4 grandchildren. To them I try to impart the same love I knew as a child growing up on the farm. Although times have changed drastically and my children have scattered around, no longer living with us, we are still a close family. That of all the things I've ever done in my life is what I consider to be my greatest accomplishment. But just as music has always been a part of my life and an expression of my love for life, so has food. Growing up under the conditions we lived in, food was the important part of the love we shared for one another. I learned to cook at an early age from people like my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, aunts, and cousins. In those days, it was with as little money as we had, we didn't enjoy the luxury and convenience of driving over to the supermarket and loading up the station wagon with everything we needed. Nearly everything we had to eat was prepared from scratch using fresh, natural ingredients we either picked or slaughtered the same day. That was the basis of our existence. To this day, I can still smell the wonderful aromas that drifted from the open windows and chimney of our little cabin as we picked cotton in the fields outside. I can close my eyes and remember sitting in the kitchen table, watching my grandma and great-grandma laboring with great love over a boiling kettle and an open fireplace. In the evenings, after it was too dark to work in the fields, our family would gather around the table, bow our heads, and thank God for what we had. Then we would eat and chat and trade stories of things that happened that day and laugh. For as long as I live, I will treasure those precious moments shared around the dinner table, eating simple but delicious food, prepared with the most precious ingredient of all, love. Many of the recipes in this book are from that time. I'm especially grateful to my mother, Mildred Lee, for teaching them to me, and you will notice her name many times in these pages. Other recipes were taught to me by my grandmother and great-grandmother and several of my aunts and cousins, and of course, I'm indebted to many other people I have known since then for their recipes, and I have credited them accordingly as well. Every time you try a new recipe, it's like a new discovery. With all the adventure and excitement that goes along with that discovery, it may not always come out that way, the way it should the first time, but you keep trying until you succeed in getting it right. The smiles and compliments and rewards that make it all worthwhile. I've burned my share of roasts and overcooking my share of vegetables. Who hasn't? But I've learned from those experiences. Cooking is something I've always loved to do, and when you love something, you always want to give it your best effort. When I was a little girl, cooking was what I did to escape the rigors of picking cotton. Today, I do it to relax and express my love for others. I have entertained hundreds of people in our Nashville home. When these people who have come to visit us in friendship drop by, I wouldn't dream of sending out for pizza or popping something pre-cooked into the microwave. I cook for them and then we sit down and enjoy it. That's the way it was in Etowah County way back then. That's the way it is today. I wouldn't have it any other way. As you read through these recipes and prepare the dishes contained here, don't be afraid to experiment. Ingredients in most cases are flexible and you can add more or less of something to suit your own tastes. I have listed the recipes in 9 food categories, and with them you can prepare a complete meal from appetizers, side dishes, main courses, and desserts. Take my word for it, they're all delicious. In closing, I have only one final word as you take the Tammy Wynettes Southern Cookbook into the kitchen with you and open its pages next to your stove. Thank you. So Mom wrote this and put this in the cookbook because she really meant every word of it. She loved to cook. It was something she did very well, and we knew that she loved doing it, and she loved doing those kind of things for us. So I'm excited to be sharing these things with you, like I said. The first recipe we're going to do is going to be the salmon patties. So on to the recipe. What we're going to do is, these are very simple ingredients. It's not that difficult. It says in the recipe to use 1 can of red salmon, but like sometimes they may only have the pink salmon. It doesn't really matter. That's just a preference, personal taste, to be honest. So it's 1 can of that. And I'm going to go ahead and add that here into this bowl. Then you take 1 onion and chop it up and dice it. And I'll be honest with you, our family loves onions, so I use a really big, large onion. But if you're just more the kind of person who likes a little bit of onion but not a lot of onion, you can just get a smaller onion if that's not what you like. But we love onion in our family, so we got a nice big onion and put all in here. All right, I'm going to season it just with a teaspoon. Don't you love this little bitty thing? I love this little thing. but we're going to season it with just a teaspoon of black pepper. That's all that we put in there. The fish already has saltiness to it. So we put the pepper in. And then I'm going to beat 2 eggs. And then we add the 2 eggs on top of that. So I'm going to go ahead and stir this up a little bit for now and get that all mixed. Okay. And then the only thing that's left then is a 1/2 cup of cornmeal and a 1/2 cup of flour. And so we add both of those. All right. Just mix that up then really good. Get it all blended in. So all that flour and cornmeal absorbs the liquid. And meanwhile, what I'm going to do before I finish stirring that the rest of the way up, I'm going to go ahead and turn on my oil because I want it to be kind of a medium high, not too high. You don't want it to start trying to boil over and catch fire. That can be dangerous. So just make sure it's somewhere between medium and high. Like maybe if you go from 1 to 10, you want it on around maybe like an 8, somewhere between 7 or 8. All right, and if you can see what that looks like, I'll get a little bit closer. It's basically just make sure that all the flour and cornmeal is mixed up really good so you don't see big clumps or lumps of that anywhere. You just want it mixed in really good. There we go. All right, so one more good stir, and then I'll get ready to put these patties in the oil. Okay, so the cookbook, as far as I know, you guys, it's been out of print for a really long time, but you might find it at a thrift store. It might be on Amazon. I know people have found some on eBay. I will warn you that some of the ones on eBay, they're asking an outrageous amount for right now, which is a shame. But it's because of the TV series, I'm sure. So just be cautious of that, and hopefully in a couple of months, that price will come back down again. People will be a little more reasonable. This is what a patty, I don't want it to be too thick. I want it to be thin enough that it'll brown on both sides and cook all the way through. So here we go, you guys. I'm going to turn that down just a little bit.
A particular oil?
I like to use a lot of sunflower oil, but sometimes I use different kinds, but I do like sunflower oil. But you can use canola oil or vegetable oil or whatever you want, but make sure it's an oil that can do, medium high to high temperatures, because some oils don't do good at higher temperatures. So just make sure you know what kind of oil you use and if it cooks well on a high temperature. Here we go.
Someone asked, is olive oil okay?
I think olive oil does well. All right, so these, you can see how quickly these cook. As long as you don't get them too fat and bulky, they should cook all the way through pretty easily within just a couple of minutes on each side. And you can just gauge them. When you see them start to turn that nice dark golden brown, then they're probably done, as long as it's golden brown on both sides. So I'm going to keep an eye. I might turn it one more time just to make sure that it looks good and golden brown on both sides. But these are delicious. You can make them into a sandwich on a bun. And put all the fixings on it, or we just would eat them a lot by themselves, just like that. Just cut into them and eat them with whatever vegetables and other sides that we had. Sorry guys, these recipes are not sugar-free, low-fat, or healthy. I mean, these are, they are what they are. They're good Southern cooking. They taste great, but, they're not going to be on the doctor's diet for, it's Southern cooking. So, but it is delicious. All right, so this looks like this just about done too. There we go. I'm going to turn this down now. Here we go. Let me flip that one more time. There we go. All right, so this is just almost done. And once this one's done, I'm going to pull it out of this and let it drain. So we'll go ahead and start winding things up here for today. But I hope you guys did enjoy watching us make that. It didn't take us too long, I know, but we'll definitely do this again next month. I'll give you guys some warning, and then we'll advertise it again as it gets closer. And let me know in the comments what it is you want to see next. I can either make some banana pudding or lemon icebox pie or something else. So you guys just let me know if you want to see a dessert or maybe something a main, whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments, and we will definitely read them, and I will do my best to try to accommodate all the recipe requests. So thanks again. We love you guys. Have a great day, great rest of your weekend, and we will see you on Monday for Community Day. If you guys want to come play some games with us, come back and see us on Monday. And until then, we'll see you. Bye.